I want to do one more video. I posted enough from World News, ABC, and all these types of things. And I also posted from Patriot Dad's site. I noticed nobody is kind of honed in on a particular thing about the death or possible execution of Judge Tom Greenwell. It made national attention because it was the courthouse. Now, Patriot Dad, another blogger, by the way, who has a WordPress, you saw how he has a lot of information about the corruption in the courthouse, in Corpus Christi. The reason the death of Greenwell made national attention is it was in a courthouse. And you got to remember a few things. If a person is committing suicide and has the intent to kill himself, and Mr. Greenwell lived Flower Bluff, again, where I lived, this associated place where there was a lot of corruption, where out of the mouth of the internal affairs officer, when I said, you got cops involved in every criminal activity under the sun, and he wanted to know what else I had. So Mr. Greenwell lived here in Flower Bluff. If you're going to commit suicide, and that's your intent, it would be very unlikely to do it in the courthouse, because there's the possibility that either security or somebody will, there'll be a check on the gun that you brought in with you. It's rare that you would do it at a courthouse. Number two, if you did it to yourself, why would you choose a high-risk place that will garner national attention? So if it was a suicide, he was trying to tell the rest of this nation that there's a tremendous amount of corruption in this place, and he wanted to bring attention to it. But if it was not a suicide, it would also send the message to any other judges that were possibly needed to get a message to, that the corruption in Nueces County, they can actually kill you in your courthouse. So either way you look at it, there was a message being sent that it was in the courthouse. And I noticed a lot of people that did good critiques on this Greenwell murder or suicide. They didn't seem to look at that aspect of it. And Mr. Greenwell, in the Flower Bluff area where I live, I believe he lived right off of like the Laguna, one of the waterways you see me by. And if somebody, oftentimes people jump off a bridge, sadly, things of that nature. But it would be highly unlikely to go to a high-risk place where somebody might see you, a security officer might, your gun might go off through security, though judges don't have to pass through that particular thing. So there was a message being sent. Either it was, if it was a suicide, Greenwell was getting the message out. Sort of like his last thing, that the corruption is so deep. And the Patriot Dad, I was a little hesitant to repost it, but I wanted to, because I have gay friends and I'm not anti-gay at all, and I felt that aspect, though he was giving statistics, it makes me a little uncomfortable, but I wanted you to see that. And he also mentioned some other judges in a lot of those dealings. So don't forget that. It's no accident if it was suicide that Greenwell did it there, hoping maybe in his death to say there's such corruption in Nueces County that we need greater movement, federal authorities to come in. And if it was a murder, the message was sent to other judges. The Patriot Dad believes that some of the local judges and all, other articles you can go to his site, but that they're involved in like underage sex ring. And I used to question when he brought that up. I've read his site before. But sure enough, there was the Mike Ratcliffe, a sheriff out of Victoria, not far from here, that got busted on that. I also noticed that the Color Times and all, they removed those links, but they were still on ABC News, which is world media. There's no purpose to remove those links. You don't say, oh, we don't have enough storage on our website. One of these videos probably takes up as much storage as all of the last 10 years of text Color Times articles, okay? On a website. Maybe a 1 hour video. You could, every single text I've ever written, I've multiple. Storage isn't the problem. They remove links because they realize over time it could implicate them. So just remember, look at all those posts. This will be the last video because I got to upload it now. But pay attention to what I just said there. That's one aspect I noticed that none of the other good reporting has mentioned.